Oh shit, dude. Man, I look fucking cool now.
Lots of you voted for this to be my next reviewed indie game on the channel, to which I say hell yeah. I noticed this one on Steam a while ago, and coming from Project Zomboid, I happened to be attracted to its isometric top-down style gameplay. The color palette was also impressive, with the sharpness of the shades almost gleaming off of the screen. It looked like a pixelated horror game with no real major differences from anything else in its genre. However, I was more than pleased when going into the game blindly. I didn't want to look up gameplay or walkthroughs, I just wanted to have a genuine first-hand experience, and boy am I glad to report I did. Developed by Humble Games, this dark and dreary horror shooter resembles so many aspects of my childhood memories, it's lunacy. I was seeing images of the original Resident Evil with very similar inventory mechanics and camera angles. The design overall for the game is fantastic in my opinion. There's even a CRT option so you can make it look straight out of the PlayStation 1 era.
Oh god. That is crazy cool. I mean, it's kind of blurry with that. The text is a little blurry. But besides that, that's pretty neat. Keep these settings, yeah.
I gotta be honest, I was really fucking excited to play this one. I counted down the days until I could grab it, and now that I've played it, there's only one question remaining. Is it any good? Fuck to the yes, it is. Not only did it blow me away with its immense storytelling and extremely hazardous gameplay, but it did such a fantastic job of mimicking what made the original games of our youth, like RE, so good. It has great puzzles that make you think, it has boss fights that keep you on your toes, and best of all, it feels like a goddamn horror game.
Oh, ooh, okay, no, run! Wait a minute, I don't know what I'm doing. Shit. Oh, Jesus Christ. Stay on the ground. I see you. Wow, you're fast. Okay. This place is huge. Okay, go back. Holy fuck, which side do I go to first? Another puzzle. Okay, so these words translate. Oh god, okay, so the only one I'm gonna have to figure out is 8. Fire key required, earth key, gold key, water key, air key. Oh boy. Where the fuck am I now? In hell. I'm in hell. I'm gonna die down here. No, wait, I'm not ready!
Ammo and supplies are limited, but mostly everything you find is essential to your character. Whether it be keys, documents that go more in depth of the universe, or tools that can help keep you alive for a longer duration, they're all handy things placed in various environmental spots. The inventory management is fucking god tier. I'm not kidding, I had a fantastic time deciding what to take and what to leave behind, putting other things away in my storage container. Yes, you heard me right, a fucking storage container for all of your items. Sounds familiar, right? Well, it should, because it's amazing. It has all of the elements of a good horror game, and it surprised me a few times with some enemies popping out of the floors and sneaking up behind you in the darkness. They're so well designed too, with this awful glitch effect applied to them as if they're corrupted, which, I mean they are, but I'll kind of explain that later. Even when you approach an enemy, the background noise amplifies to this disgusting frequency, but it works very well in the game's favor. It is a horror game after all.
Oh, Lord Almighty. Oh, boy. Okay.
You know what's honestly sad? How much fun I'm having playing this game. Why sad? Well, because I'm just gonna go on a limb and say it. I think this game is so much more riveting, engaging, and story-based than Callisto Protocol. Granted, both games share a few similarities, taking place in the sci-fi horror genre and only offering 6 inventory spaces at the start. However, Callisto was a game that was sponsored to be the next generation of Dead Space, and it flopped. The reason I haven't complained about the inventory management in Signalis is because it's super fucking convenient. If you don't find enough room to grab something you want, it's no big deal. Just walk a few rooms away to access your item box. It doesn't take too long at all, and you can go back and forth as you please so long as you're avoiding the enemies. The combat is also unique, with a zomboid type of aiming mechanic. The longer you aim at an enemy, the tighter your accuracy window becomes, allowing you to make more consistent and powerful shots. Of course, tension can build up if you're surrounded by more than one enemy, but running is always a valid and reliable option for scaredy cats like me. The environment's design overall is very nostalgic and cathartic to me in a way. It resembles the pixelated horrors of my childhood, and the foreground silhouettes really appeal to the cinematic camera angles. I mean, Jesus Christ, guys, this isn't exactly a game that I think is deserving of $20. I think it should cost $30. The production value is so much higher than I had anticipated, and I can't lie, I struggled hardcore with taking my time. I just didn't want to stop playing the fucking thing. It's gorgeous and gory and glorious and glorgy. Oh, that's not a word? Well, fuck it, it is now. I can honestly say that this belongs in my top 10 list of greatest games ever made. Humble Games have clearly outdone themselves with this, and I can only hope for wonderful things in their future. Playing this feels somewhat like a fever dream. How come I've never known about this game? Well, like I said before, and anyone who's been a fan of the channel for a couple of months now, I never owned a gaming PC until I turned around 19. On top of that, I'd probably pin the blame on my shallow outlook towards indie games at the time. I'm not sure why, but I always overlooked indie games that didn't have a first-person perspective or any of the mundane things that most modern shooters have. I was a cocksucker and didn't give the proper attention to indie games that I should have. With that off my chest finally, what else about it makes it so good? Even though the story is, at least for me, a little bit hard to follow, I can try to summarize. Correct me if I make any mistakes here. You play as a replica, or in other words, an android designed with a copy of a human's neural imprint used for military or hard labor purposes in the future. A really amazing concept, but to add to the lore, something has happened to the facility and is spreading like a rapid plague. Different replica units have become corrupted and infected by some sort of cancerous virus, sending them into a frenzy state where they attack all things living or bionic. They're a bizarre enemy, and I enjoyed the different variations they shared. One huge compliment I want to give towards the environment again. I haven't been in a single room that looked the same as the other. They're individually designed to meet a specific aesthetic that resembles age, rust, and erosion. The color palettes are as beautiful as the Mona fucking Lisa. It's perfect. I mentioned before that there are boss battles in this game, the first one being a giant robotic miner replica that kinda looks like the Cyclops from SpongeBob.
It's the Cyclops!
There's more than meets the eye here, as we can see normal ammunition doesn't seem to bother him. Each bullet bounces off his armor like a mosquito. This is where you run around like a goofball until you realize he will eventually fall to his knees and open his face mask, allowing you to deal damage to him. Get the pattern down and he's done for. Don't forget about the scattered loot inside the room though. You'll need every bullet you can get your hands on. As I mentioned before, the puzzles are authentic and offer all sorts of solutions. They're not too tough, but they will require some thought. There's a large door just before the Mina fight that needs 5 different keycards. Acquiring some of them is as easy as walking into a room, but the others are a hop, skip, and jump away. I like this feature. I like solving the puzzles and utilizing my own resources to assist me further.
Scrawled note. Kick them while they're down, kick them while they're down, kick them while they're down. All right, yeah, that's good advice. So it's shoot the tentacles and cut off their limbs.
Other equipment ranges from weapons or tools like the electric stun prod. This is the equivalent to the daggers from Resident Evil. They're a temporary defense item that only have one use. They're still handy and can save you in a pinch. Later on, you'll discover the radio frequency adapter, which allows you to tune into certain frequencies to crack the codes of saves and persevere into the depths of the world. One thing I have to say, it's a bit of a slow start. At first, I was ready to take on any threat that came my way, but the game's difficulty amps up quicker than my drunken uncle when Freebird comes on. Sometimes you could sneak your way past the enemies, which is a useful tactic when trying to conserve your ammo. It's easier said than done, though, since there isn't really a lot of room for stealth. There's no crouch or anything like that. So long as you don't go anywhere within their eyesight, however, you are safe. Then I found a room full of these fucking things. Jesus Christ, it's destroying my goddamn eardrums. Get me the fuck out of here, man. I don't want to hear that shit. Well, they certainly aren't shy of enemy types, which is also a huge compliment. As with every great game I review, I always have to talk about the lesser fun qualities of the game. However, there's really not much to complain about. Sure, the inventory management is a bit tedious, but it still works for the most part. I want to compare this to Resident Evil again. I know I do that an awful fucking lot, but that's because it's the closest thing I can relate it to. The developers definitely were fans of the original games, and I felt many similar emotions while playing Signalis. Especially when you pick up the shotgun for the first time.
I see that. I see whatever that is, and if my calculations are correct, that's a shotgun, and I can't wait to get my hands on that bad son of a bitch. Oh my god, I love this fucking game. Yes! Equip that. Yeah, I gotta see it. Oh, shit. Aruba, Jamaica.
There's no doubt in my mind that this game has created an amazing universe with interesting characters and lots of story plundering. If a sequel were announced, I'd be pretty damn stoked. Thankfully, I don't have too many bad things to say, since most of the negative aspects of the game are shadowed by the great mechanics. However, I do feel it is necessary to comment on them. Firstly, I struggled for a bit in the beginning with all of the crazy amount of reading you'll be doing. This is a lore-heavy game though, so I don't mind necessarily picking up files and examining them to learn more about the world, but there is a lot of it in the beginning, so you just gotta be patient with it. The combat can be a bit off, but only sometimes. I'll aim at an enemy point blank with the shotgun and shoot them in the robotic fucking face and it does nothing. This happens randomly, so I have a feeling it was probably something I was doing wrong, or maybe the enemy was stronger than I anticipated. Another issue I had, again on my end, were two puzzles involving the astrolabe and the door codes when you reach the nowhere chapter. I had to look them up because my ape brain was set to gorilla in a fucking coop mode and I couldn't figure them out. The entire concept revolving around Signalis is magnificent, and it envelops a certain playstyle that brings us all back to childhood. The different enemies, the vast story, the horrors of discovering what happened to the replicas, and the intense boss fights and jaw-dropping encounters will definitely test your stress levels to the max. It's a superb game that cost me $19.99 on Steam, and I've already spent over 5 hours running around within it and discovering more interesting plot pieces. I'd highly recommend you throw this developer some cash and grab this game. It's such a masterpiece. It can be a bit frustrating at certain intervals, but I haven't come across anything that makes me want to stop playing. Signalis has so much inside of it to explore, and it's great that it is so well developed for an indie game. I'm honestly kinda shocked this game isn't available for console. I think it's plenty good enough. Overall, I can't believe I'm saying this. It's a 10 out of 10. Holy fuck, right? My first ever glorious game review. And take that as you will. I'm not saying that this is the best indie game ever made. I just think that it brings a lot more than what was expected of it for an indie game. And that's always impressive to me. Well, that's it for Signalis, ladies and gents. I hope this video was worth the wait, and I apologize it isn't longer. I'm very much strapped on time with Resident Evil 4 coming out in literally a few days. I'm trying my best to make sure I can get enough room on my PC to even film the fucking game, since it's gonna be a big one. Regardless, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned, and we shall explore the depths of horror behind the Resident Evil 4 remake. The only question that remains is, will it be better or worse than the original? We will soon find out together. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to our channel, and thanks for checking out this video. Leave a like, comment, and since we're on the subject, enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching the content, folks.